Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to take a look at the TEQ Vegito unit. So obviously TEQ Vegito was one of the units to recently get his EZA on DBZ Dokkan Battle Global, and with that EZA he got a lot better. So very similar to the Int Vegito, he basically got a whole bunch of support based buffs that he can provide to your team, which makes him a pretty interesting unit to utilize in those situations. He's an all types key +3 and attack, HP and defense plus 80% lead skill unit. He causes supreme damage to the enemy and raises allies attack and defense by 30% for one turn. He has attack and defense plus 150% plus an additional defense of 15% per key sphere obtained. He also has a chance of evading enemies' attacks, including super attacks, plus 5% with each attack received, up to 30% in total. He also gives all allies attack and defense of 30%, plus launches an additional attack that has a high chance, which is 70 or 50%, to become a super attack. He has 7 links. Unlike the Int Vegito, he has Saiyan Warrior Race, Saiyan Lineage, Prepared for Battle, Power Bestowed by God, Fused Fighter, Supreme Power, and Fierce Battle. He's on Majin Buu Saga, Potara, Final Trump Card, and Battle of Wits. Overall, he's a pretty good unit in terms of build. I would highly suggest that you build him with crit in mind. He already does additional super attacks, and he has evasion built in. So giving him crits is really not too bad an idea, although if you want to give him a little bit more of an additional split, you are welcome to do so, as he can fire 3 super attacks in a turn, which obviously would aid the other units in his team quite a lot. So if we take a look at how he's meant to be utilized, he obviously has attack and defense of 150%. He gains defense per key sphere obtained. This is obviously something that's highly important and will help him out quite a bit. We can see he's got 148,000 defense start of turn, which is pretty good. It's honestly not too bad. Pretty solid and pretty reliable. A decent amount of defense to have. He will gain for every orb that he gets as well. So he will have increased his defense there as well, which is really good. He will also raise his defense because of the consequence of his super attack. So overall, he's got a pretty nice ability to get that defense up to a very solid point. Not to mention, he will also be improving the performance of all the other units on his rotation. Now, ideally, you want to stick this guy in the first slot because that's going to enable him to really set up the rest of the rotation. But you can also stick him in the second slot and he'll also be perfectly fine there, and he'll boost the abilities of your floating unit, which is usually one of your more defensively weak units anyway, or one of your units that doesn't necessarily do as much damage. So it's not really a big issue that he sits in the second slot. It is just one of those things. Now obviously he does gain evasion as well, which is great. 30% evasion, which is decent. The 30% evasion will help him kind of, be a bit more like conducive in that first slot. It allows him to tank a little bit more, to just be a bit better in defensive situations. But we'll take a look at how well he does overall. Very, very solid unit. Very excited to see how well he does. We can see here he's got a couple of links active. Again, we're going to stick him in that second slot. He's got 127,000 defense or so, which is not bad. There's no support on this turn, so obviously that is something to keep in mind for him. We're going to put him in the first slot just because we want to see some attack stats, and 1.8 million. Now the Int Vegito can hit a lot harder, but the Int Vegito doesn't get nearly as much defense, and that's because of the change with the TEQ one obviously stacking defense with orbs, and the Int one stacking attack. It's going to depend what you want to prioritize. The Int one's much better as an attacking unit because of that, whereas the TEQ one is objectively better defensively due to his evasion, due to his defense. I think he might age a bit better, considering that both of them predominantly are still support units, just in the way they function and the way they can boost the rest of the rotation. But honestly, it's just going to depend on you realistically and how you want to use them. In terms of links, the TEQ Vegito has Saiyan Warrior Race, which is a solid enough link. Saiyan Lineage gains a bit of attack and defense as it levels. Prepared for Battle gains a bit of attack and defense as it levels. Power Bestowed by God gains a little bit of attack. Fused Fighter gains a little bit of attack and defense as it levels. Supreme Power gains a little bit of attack and defense as it levels. So he can actually get up to 20% extra defense from all of his links if he is fully link leveled. Now you're not going to be able to proc maybe all of those at the same time, but you should be able to proc quite a few of them at the same time. We've managed to get quite a few of them, so his defense can definitely go up from link leveling, which is great, and his attack does go up quite a little bit. I wouldn't say obviously it's on the same scale as Big Bad Bosses style units or anything like that, but he does do a pretty good job. He does look pretty solid. So we're going to stick him here. He shares a couple links with this Gotenks. They share 3 links. He shares 5 links with his base form, but Gotenks does transform. We're going to stick him in the first slot just because Gotenks has type advantage, so I'm pretty certain we're going to want to obviously keep that. He's pretty solid, old Vegito. If we take a look at his defense, you can see there it's 170,000, very good. Very decent points. He got a decent amount of orbs there as well, 4 or 5, and no support on the rotation, so he's a very good unit. He will raise his defense with his attack as well. You can see there, nice attack, gets a follow-up, unfortunately no super attack, which we haven't actually got once, interestingly enough. This entire demonstration, we actually haven't got his second super once, which kind of says a lot. But you can see Gotenks sitting 2.7 million, very, very impressive. If we'd got another super from Vegito, we're probably looking at over 3 mil for Gotenks as well. As with Int Vegito, it's very difficult to measure just how well a unit does, because with this level of support that they provide, it's very difficult to kind of say, oh, this is the correct, 1.8 million attack stat on Vegito, but he's pushing other units to be at much higher points than they usually would be. So yeah, I just think it's very difficult to just outright measure a unit, since you can't really openly quantify how much they do for everyone else. You obviously can measure it, you know how much they're giving the team, but it's not something that's so evident. The only real way would be to measure up how Gotenks, for example, did previously with Vegito, or how much that rotation did before the EZA, or what their collective defense was before the EZA. And then that way you can kind of measure the quantitative effect of how well they've done. But overall, I think Vegito's really good. I think both Vegitos are really good. I think there is some merit in link leveling them. Although the fact that they're only on 4 or 5 categories really doesn't really feel like there's a good purpose for link leveling them. I like to link level units, or units that aren't trunks. I like to link level units that are going to be useful on multiple categories with a running partner. So for example, the TEQ Frieza is very good the whole time with the physical cooler, and that kind of is a reason why. In terms of links, Prepared for Battle is going to be a very predominant link for this guy. Fierce Battle, very common. Saiyan Warrior Race, Saiyan Lineage, both pretty decent. Power Bestowed by God will be great on a Potara based team. Fused Fighter will also be great on a Potara based team, or fusion teams, or final trump card teams. You can see he links pretty well with the Int Vegeta and the Strength Goku, which is something that could be a pretty cool combination to run for a Majin Buu Saga based team. They both link, or they all link pretty well, so I mean that is pretty cool. And yeah, I mean, just overall, there's some decent options here. The link set's not bad. It's a little bit diverse, but it's a pretty solid link set. Prepared for Battle's great. Fused Fighter's great for Potara-based teams or final trump card-based teams. Supreme powers are Majin Buu Saga based things, same lineage, same warrior race. They make him okay with hybrid Saiyans or pure Saiyans units. So yeah, realistically it's pretty solid. He's got a decent link set, and I think overall he's a pretty good unit. I think he can bring a lot to the table, and I think he can really make some other units shine. Very similarly to the Int Vegito, I think they both can make other units shine quite a bit. So yeah, very excited to see how well they do. Very excited to see how well this TEQ Vegito does in events. And yeah, I think overall, very awesome stuff. I think great stuff. I think good units. And yeah, like I said, he shares 5 links with this Gotenks, but when Gotenks transforms, obviously a lot of those fall away. So not necessarily the best long-term partner, but I guess in short-term events, maybe it's perfectly fine. But yeah, overall, pretty happy with how everything's gone. So yeah, that's going to be pretty much it from me, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like on the video or leave a comment and I'll try and get back to you. But otherwise, take care and bye.